Hello once more, friends. I am OmnusI, your host and game master, here once more in my lair to answer another question for the RPG Brigade of Facebook for the RPG A Day Challenge. This one is a very, very personal question. And as I, OmnusI, am the great game master of everything related to gaming in general, this is a bit more personal, so this one I'm going to answer as Rob. Hi, everybody. I'm Rob. So, when I'm not OmnusI, I do tell a game for my friends. I have run many games over my time, and I've had many, many players. So when I answer this question, for this, the 28th, share whose inspiring gaming excellence you're grateful for. And so this is for Rob. This is not OmnusI. We're two different people. He is my narrator voice, but this is about my experiences. And in this case, I'm going to give you three people whose gaming excellence I'm grateful for. Firstly, my best friend. And I'm going to be using their real names for this. So usually I don't, but in this case I believe they deserve to be recognized because this is all good. Because they've helped me tremendously both by their friendship and also by making me better at my craft. So the first one is my best friend Vince, who I've known since high school. We have told several great stories together. Not as many as I would have liked. Unfortunately, we've kind of diverged in paths. He had his time he had to spend in his career, so he gave up gaming, which is something I've never been able to do. But he loved the hobby. He loved gaming. And we both loved playing together and sometimes separately, but for the most part, while we were together, we told fantastic stories. I joined a role-playing game group first when we went to college together, and as soon as I thought there was an opening, I asked if he could be invited in, and I vouched for him, and he came in and was a great player with us. It was so much fun having my best friend there at the table too. Oftentimes, as our paths diverged, he left college and I stayed in college. That was the time we got to see each other, and it really helped keep that connection together. He was a very, very good role player. He thought in terms not of builds, but of real fun characters to play. People who would be entertaining. Not always, the most powerful, but he oftentimes, he had his tactical side too. But he created some characters that I still remember and smile about to this day. Starting all the way back from Aragon Strongheart, from when we were in high school, to his battle dancer Thadiker, that would literally, in armor, dance around the field, smacking people with his sword. Eventually to Cedric, the Black, who was a swashbuckler in my epic 3.0 game when we first started playing 3rd edition. And I'm incredibly glad and proud to have played with him. And I'm very, very grateful for the time that we had together. I miss him. I miss him quite a bit, actually. It's I'm not going to say it's a shame because he's done tremendous things with his life, and he's got a great family. But it's one of those things. But I am better because of all the time we played together and the groups that we've held together. We had some fantastic stories, and let me go out on a limb and try different things and have a positive person to reflect back on. Next is another good friend of mine, Roger, who was a roommate of mine at one point. We shared a place after college. And Roger is a genial person who you look at, and it's hard to imagine him having a bad day. I've been with him through some pretty black days, and he has this tremendous ability to make things better just because he's so much larger than life in so many ways. Things just don't get him down the way that I've seen other people just get obsessed with things. And as far as a gamer, he's still to this day, I consider him to be one of the most excellent gamers I've ever played with. Part of the reason is because when we were playing together, he really lived it. He thought about the game when he wasn't at the table. He would still think about the ins and outs and trust that I had a story that was real and had logic and thought behind it, and he thought through the narrative, and oftentimes he would come up with stunning revelations that the rest of the party would just look at, gasp at, that he would unravel some of the plot twists before they were ready to be sprung, and would think of different ways outside of the box thinking was his specialty. I had to become a much better game master in a hurry with him at my table because I didn't know what to expect myself. A lot of the times you can get comfortable with a group, and Roger made sure that I couldn't because he would come up with tactics. For instance, he was playing a bard in 3rd edition. Relatively useless character. They're great, they're okay for support, but they were relatively underpowered in 3rd edition. That's been rectified largely in 5th edition. At one point, they were fighting a Balor, a huge demonic creature. If you think of the Balrog in The Lord of the Rings and the Mines of Moria, you'd be right. That's what they're patterned off of. So he didn't have a weapon that could hurt it. He really couldn't take a great deal of punishment, but he wanted to help out the party. So he got up onto a ledge, jumped off, and wrapped his legs around its neck and grabbed onto its head to blind it. He was taking damage from its fiery aura, but because it was blind, it couldn't effectively defend itself, and it allowed the rest of the party to beat on it mercilessly until they finally destroyed it. He was badly burned and injured from the fight, but nobody died, especially since that thing had a Vorpal sword. It could have killed anybody at any time. He stopped that from a tactic I certainly didn't expect. And that's just a taste of the various things that Roger brought to the table that I constantly had to keep on my toes about. And we played off of each other. He would try something zany, and if I thought, oh, that's a good idea, that'll work, as long as it didn't break the game, a lot of times we did fantastic things together. He was a little bit of a power gamer. He knew how to make the system work for him, and a lot of times that had made me have to be on my toes so that my encounters didn't get completely ruined. And his luck was ridiculous. Some of the times then he would just trivialize a difficult encounter that I had staged. He was rewarded karmically for his hard work, I'll just say that. But another player that I dearly miss. A good friend that I still stay in touch with, but yeah, again, he definitely helped me out a lot. And then I would say finally, currently, this is almost generationally, but a current player at my table that I'm grateful for his name is Greg. Greg is another person cut out of similar cloth to Roger. He is very much a person who thinks about the game, thinks about his role in the game, and works to create something that works within the game world and makes the group better. He is a bit of a power gamer, which again has made me get better at my tacticals and my combat. I'm frequently kind of forcing, I have no choice but to look at him and go, you did that much damage? Or how did this work? And he's been showing me the ins and outs of the game in ways that I didn't automatically know. I don't play that often, so he stress tests things for me very well. Some people don't like power gamers. As a matter of fact, we had one player quit because of different personal conflicts, but one of the main umbrages that he had was this guy power games. And I'm like, well, he wants to make a character that'll survive, and he, has mostly whatever skill that he needs in a given time. He makes characters with a lot of depth and breadth, and plans ahead well. So he can be difficult to have in a group because sometimes, again, he also trivializes some challenges that I have. But I'd much rather have people like him who are engaged, who work with the story, and who make generally excellent characters within the story that make the world richer and better. Of course, I'm grateful for all of my players. But if I'm talking about one who's forced me to be better and inspires me to constantly, step up my game, I have players who'd be satisfied with just about anything that I did, and I love them for it. But if I'm going to, constantly make sure that my curve is up to a point where I'm challenging the group, well, he's one that pushes me, and I've learned more about 5th edition from him being at my table than if he wasn't there. He certainly showed me a lot of things already. So I'm grateful for him as well. Those 3 together have done a lot to make me the game master that I am today. And, I wish they could always be at my table all the time. That's not reality, unfortunately. But I have hopes that someday, somewhere, we'll share a table again. I certainly hope so. There are very few players that I've ever had at my table that I wouldn't want to play with again. And as I get older and older, and the opportunities get vanishingly small, I still cling to a little hope that many of them someday, just the right circumstance will come up. We'll see. But it would be nice. That is my very reflective answer to this question as Rob, not OmnusI. If any of you, Roger, Vince, or Greg, get a chance to hear this, know that I appreciate you. I'm very thankful for the friendship that we share. And, I know that a lot of this is around the trappings of gaming and stuff. But some things are more important, and some things are bigger than the game. I never said often enough, how much I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate all of you, of course. Those of you who are watching. As we get a little more personal this time. But you keep me doing this. If I didn't have an audience, I would have stopped a long time ago. And as I see more and more subscribers on my YouTube channel, as I see more and more people who give me encouragement, and that encouragement sometimes is just a fun, witty comment or that's a really good video. It keeps me going, and I appreciate that because I enjoy doing this, but I enjoy doing this for you, whoever you are, anybody of you who are watching this. But most especially if you comment and like and subscribe and all the fun stuff. So that's my pitch for that. I am Rob, and I am also OmnusI. And I once more look forward to seeing you again here in the Lair. Until that time, farewell.